what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Welcome back for more SPTV, everyone. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my most favorite Scientology fraudsters to discuss, to expose the one and only Grant Cardone. For some reason, he calls himself Uncle G. Seems a little pervy. I don't know what's going on with that. But we are talking about Grant Cardone. How many people know that Grant Cardone has an identical twin brother named Gary Cardone? Did you guys know that? Did you know they're both Scientologists? Did you know Grant is actually the one who got his brother Gary into Scientology? And actually, when they first got into Scientology, it was Gary who was the big dog. He was the one with the money. Gary has been the money and the brains behind the scenes for Grant for a very, very long time. And both Gary and Grant are in an awful lot of trouble. Guys, I've been telling you for many, many months now that the FBI was investigating Grant Cardone and Cardone Capital specifically. I don't claim to be someone who's kept in the loop on everything that's going on with that. Whether that investigation is still ongoing or whether it's been killed, I absolutely don't know. All I know is what was happening. And the FBI was surveilling, wiretapping, collecting the shredding every night. And I know what led to it. But that's not what we're here to talk about today, because the feds are all up in Gary and Grant's business for a completely different reason. And when you've got the feds all up in your business for more than one reason, you've made some bad decisions along the way. So let's get right to this, guys. I want to show you some reporting that was just done by Jeffrey Augustine on the Scientology Money Project blog, website. Guys, when it comes to deep dive investigative reporting into the subject of Scientology and the financial affairs of Scientologists, it just doesn't get any better than Jeffrey Augustine's work. So let me share with you what he's got going on here. The Grant and Gary Cardone interlocking scheme. Grant Cardone ordered by U.S. District Court to disgorge millions of dollars he took from scammers Michael and Valerie Rando. Free credit repair from the government. Okay, so the Randos were running this free credit repair scheme using call centers. Credit repair scammer and ultimate Grant Cardone fanboy, Michael Rando. Hold on, I'm going to try to highlight it to make it easier to follow along. This scammer and his wife, Valerie Rando, are $18.9 million lighter after paying the FTC a monetary judgment for their scam. The feds took everything, including their luxury cars, Michael's Rolex, Valerie's $5,000 handbag. Oh, my goodness. Significantly, Grant Cardone was ordered to turn over to the FTC the millions of dollars the Randos had invested in his Cardone Capital equity funds. In this article, we show the financial business ties between scammers Michael and Valerie Rando and the companies owned by Grant Cardone and Gary Cardone. As we will conclude in this article, we believe a deeper investigation will show this same modus operandi in which Chargebacks 911 supports scammers, thereby allowing them to invest millions of dollars into Cardone Capital. Okay, let's shift views real quick. Chargebacks 911 is a company created by Gary Cardone and his wife, ex-wife, Monica, who this company allows fraudsters to keep their merchant accounts open. The merchant accounts is what the fraudsters need to run credit cards from the people that they're scamming. Merchant accounts usually have a trigger that if the number of chargebacks on the merchant account meets or exceeds 1%, the government, the banking industry has pretty much adjudicated, if you're getting 1% or more in chargebacks, you have an unusual amount of fraud associated with your business, and the merchant accounts get shut down. Now, a chargeback is when you get a charge on your credit card and you contact your credit card company and said, I didn't authorize that, reverse the charge. Okay, so Chargebacks 911 helps fraudsters keep their merchant accounts open through a number of ways, but one of the most easily understandable ways is they take these prepaid cards and they run thousands upon thousands of microtransactions through the client's merchant account using these prepaid cards to drastically, artificially inflate the number of total transactions on the merchant account, so that the number of actual chargebacks on the merchant account appears to be a much smaller percentage of total transactions than it is in reality. That's the easiest way to explain it. Now, by the way, one of the things that leads to an abnormally high rate of chargebacks is when you have a sales crew working the phones in these call centers using a combination of fraud and high pressure sales techniques to close someone on buying something. And then, 15 minutes later or 15 hours later or 15 days later, they're like, yeah, I never really wanted that thing. I was sort of, kind of forced into doing it. And then they charge back. Now, when you think of high pressure sales techniques, using call centers, who's one of the first people who comes to mind? Grant Cardone. Is it any coincidence that you have Grant Cardone, a guy whose entire business model, and we're not talking about Cardone Capital here, we're talking about Cardone Enterprises at this point, whose entire business model is predicated upon hardcore big league sales. What is it called in Scientology? They call it hard sell. Big league sales, hard sell techniques. So you've got Grant, whose entire business model relies on that. And then you've got his brother, Gary, whose entire business model is helping people like Grant keep their merchant accounts open. I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? Okay. Back to the document. I do not want to read these actual stipulated orders from the FTC because they're so wordy. It's hard to read in a way that is clear to listen to. But he does say here, from the stipulated order for permanent injunction and monetary judgment, the defendants, Michael and Valerie Rando, signed with the Federal Trade Commission. Okay, I'm not going to read all of that language. Jeffrey Augustine says, scroll down to the bottom to read the document on the Rando's financial activities created by Maria Yip, who was appointed to serve as the temporary receiver for defendants Michael and Valerie Rando. The 209-page document shows clear financial ties between the Randos and Grant and Gary Cardone. This document also shows how closely the twin brothers, Grant and Gary Cardone, work to send each other business. As the seed investor for Grant Cardone's company, Cardone Capital, Gary has always played a behind-the-scenes role, while Grant has served as the showman in social media spotlight. Just as Grant Cardone was launching his multi-family home buying spree with Gary's money, Gary was launching Chargebacks 911 with his wife, Monica Eaton. Grant promoted Chargebacks 911 to his client base, while Gary steered his clients to invest in Cardone Capital. Gary steered his clients, most of which who have businesses that are committing fraud. Gary would help these companies who are fraudsters keep their fraud running through his Chargebacks 911 service. Those fraudsters would then in turn take their money that was earned through fraud and invest with Cardone Capital. Yeah, that sounds exactly about right. Okay, let's keep going here. This is a true family business. However, as we recently reported, Gary Cardone and his ex-wife, Monica Eaton, now find themselves the subjects of a major civil lawsuit filed by the FTC and the state of Florida. The complaint alleges and details fraudulent business practices conducted by Chargebacks 911 on behalf of 3 major clients. 2 of these clients disgorged $135 million in a settlement with the FTC. The 3rd client, Gopal Krishna Pai, pled to criminal charges and will serve a term of 41 months in U.S. federal prison. The Randos are a 4th client whose deep relations with the Cardone brothers offer an interesting look into yet another Scientologist-enhanced financial scam. Absolutely incredible. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit past the orders, which, guys, I'm going to put a link in the description down below to this blog post so you guys can read every word of it. But let me just reiterate something that I just read. Gary Cardone's clients have had to forfeit over $250 million to the United States government in lawsuits, various lawsuits, and criminal proceedings. That's just what they were made to give back. Okay. Gary Cardone's company is coming under fire in the crosshairs of the feds because it is becoming apparent that Gary Cardone's company exists to help these fraudsters keep their merchant accounts open as long as possible. How much time is it going to take for the feds to figure out what Cardone Enterprises' role is in all of this? Okay. Anyway, that's just a question, guys. I'm asking the question. The government's going to answer the question. All right, let's keep scrolling down a bit more because there's another section I definitely wanted to read. Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. We're going to wrap this up pretty quickly here. In his sales presentations for Chargebacks 911, Gary Cardone claimed that 85% of chargebacks were friendly fraud. By this, he meant buyer's remorse. Cardone claimed that his services were needed to fight chargebacks based on buyer's remorse, as such remorse constitutes fraud. This extreme dishonesty and avarice on the part of Gary Cardone leads us to believe that there is about greater than a 50% chance that Gary Cardone and his ex-wife, Monica Eaton Cardone, will face criminal charges. Gary Cardone called buyer's remorse friendly fraud. However, as court documents show, buyer's remorse was typically the result of high-pressure telemarketing sales tactics, misleading statements, and fraudulent claims made by scammers who were clients of Chargebacks 911. These same scammers also used contracts of adhesion in which no refunds were allowed. Gary Cardone and Monica Eaton were hell-bent to fight consumer chargebacks filed against their scammy clients. For this and other reasons, the FTC and the state of Florida have sued Gary Cardone and Monica Eaton. The lawsuit alleges Chargebacks 911 knowingly and deliberately acted to aid and abet online and telemarketing scammers such as the Randos. I will add, such as Cardone Enterprises. We shall see. Okay. This is an interesting prediction from Jeffrey Augustine here. On a side note, we predict that Gary Cardone and Monica Eaton will reconcile and not go through with their divorce. We say this because being married means they do not have to testify against each other. Once the two reconcile, they can credit Scientology marriage counseling. They can also move back into that big, beautiful $14 million palace on the water. Okay, this next paragraph continues to be very interesting. It is worth noting that Grant Cardone made an Instagram video in which he encouraged prospective clients who were going broke to pay for Cardone sales training with credit cards and then file for bankruptcy. Cardone argued that the banks would pick up the credit card charges, while his new clients would keep and enjoy the benefits of Cardone sales training. Aside from being an inducement to deliberately defraud credit card companies, we think Grant Cardone urged bankruptcy so that his Cardone sales training company would not have to face chargeback claims from unhappy customers. After all, if chargebacks went above 1%, Cardone's sales training company would risk the loss of its credit card merchant processing vendors. We consider Grant Cardone a hypocrite, fraud, liar, and con man. Scientology likes him because he donates millions of dollars. Our prediction is that the feds will sooner or later indict the old boy and claw back the money he has donated to Scientology. Luis Pino already has Grant Cardone on the ropes. Here is Exhibit A. Now, this is the Instagram video where Grant Cardone is training his sales reps to encourage their prospects to, if they're about to declare bankruptcy or considering it, to first max out their credit cards, buying training from Grant Cardone's companies, and then declare bankruptcy. Grant Cardone says, the training that you've bought with us will stay on account. We will honor that training when you reincorporate, and the cost of that training will have been picked up by the banks in bankruptcy. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we're almost done here, guys. The Randos employed Chargebacks 911 to fight chargebacks made by customers who had been conned by the Randos and their salespeople. This excerpt clarifies how chargebacks cost scammers, how chargebacks, meaning the act of chargebacks, clients charging back, costs scammers, and why they paid Gary and Monica Cardone to, among other things, send in false representations, which allowed scammers to falsely keep the money obtained from fraud. Again, I don't want to read the entire excerpt because it's very clunky and clumsy too, but I will put the link down below. Okay, guys, this is the last part. The Randos had invested $6.9 million with Grant Cardone. That's over at Cardone Capital. This alone was motive enough for Gary Cardone to fight to protect the Randos from chargebacks arising from their credit repair scam. We believe Gary Cardone felt he had a duty to keep the lucrative scheme going, in which he and his brother enriched each other by their reciprocal client referrals. This type of self-dealing in family-owned businesses is nothing new. We believe a deeper investigation will show the same modus operandi in which Chargebacks 911 supports scammers and thereby allows them to invest millions of dollars into Cardone Capital. More to come on this ongoing investigation. Please feel free to contact us, jeffreyaugustine@gmail.com. I get contacted privately behind the scenes by dozens of Cardone Capital investors and former employees at both Cardone Capital and Cardone Enterprises and Cardone Ventures. There is so much dirty shit going on behind the scenes at Cardone's businesses. What we are seeing here, the FTC getting, the camel's nose under the tent over in Gary Cardone's businesses and Grant Cardone's businesses. This is all just the tip of the iceberg. I would bet, I'm gonna hold off on making too many predictions. I can tell you something. Grant Cardone is very afraid right now. Very, very afraid. And he has very good reason to be afraid. I have said that I hope 2023 is the year that we see Grant Cardone perp walked off in some handcuffs and see him in prison. We'll see, guys. We'll see. 2023 might be a little fast. Maybe 2024 is the year. But yeah, it is not a good time to be over there in the Cardone land bubble. All right, guys, I'm just going to look at the comments real quick. Let's see. What is this? Chaya Fabulous. Today, Caroline Hirons updated an interview with Joanna Vargas. Joanna Vargas. Caroline is a huge influencer and needs to be aware of Joanna being Scientology. Go comment. Interesting. I'm going to have to look into that. I will try. I have an awful lot going on today. I don't know that I will remember to check this out, but I'm going to try. Okay, Tarika Meyer. Knowing the tricks and credit card fraud that Scientology uses, I can't help but wonder if Scientology was using them too. Maybe an interesting thing to investigate. Oh my God. If Scientology itself was using the services of Chargebacks 911, that would be massive. Now, in Scientology, it is considered a suppressive act to actually charge back money to Scientology. So I'm not sure that Scientology would have been at any risk of exceeding a 1% threshold on their chargebacks on their merchant accounts. But if something like that were to come to light, that would be a massive deal. All right, everybody, that is all I have on this for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.